there, rolling something in the split. No one checks Brums!
This position, they can hold this crossfire. That's the ball line.
Oh no!
The collateral double kill! Spray down not available for him. Flash drive, we're looking at punish it. Kicks gets two! It's Alex to come up alive again. Ooh, the shot that Paddy touches, but does he expect the upper angle? He does not!
Finest versus Excel, Excel versus Finest. A story as old as time. One team looking to improve themselves, the other looking for revenge. And so far, Finest have not been successful at doing so. Excel already 2-0 in this best of 5. They do have that one map advantage as they're coming out from that upper bracket. But Finest, they want to make this miracle run. I'm Ginny, your host, joined by MP. Nikai with us on the desk so far. You haven't really had the chance, Nikai, to give us your thoughts about last game specifically, so I'm going to open the floor to you.
It was just one-sided. I mean, there's nothing really to break down there. It was just a brilliant performance from XL. You got to give them all the credit. There was no fault in that gameplay the entire way through. You got to give all the credit over towards XL because they looked flawless. They look like the XL we know and love. They're the #1 seed for damn good reason, and they're proving that they're not here to play any more games.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Finest, yeah, they got 6 rounds. Half of those came from 1 versus X situations. So that is kind of crucial. It's really, really tough, especially when Destructive with 5 kills. When you look at the Icebox, last time around, Destructive was on top. 21 kills for Finest, just carrying them.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really tough if Destructive doesn't show up here. We have talked about Yasin so many times, but I think this Icebox, it's the Viper's playground. You have to pop off as Destructive. Yeah, sure, you might not be on that level with the Omen as a comfort pick. So I think the Viper will be different, but I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, we said it before, Finest relying on a couple of individuals to do well, but this, you're against XL. It's a whole different beast that you need to be dealing with. Every single one of these players know what they do, and we saw it last round on the last map as well. XL in that deficit in regards to players, but they're still coming out on top. They have that clutch factor time and time again. So as we're going to be heading into Icebox, we already discussed a little bit of the Viper, but is there anything else that you need to see from Finest here?
I mean, when you look towards the previous series, right, it was Yasin that they fell back on as a reliable factor. He dropped like 400 and something ACS in the previous series. Had a ridiculous showing. And of course, when you have players popping off like that, it's very easy to rack up rounds and rack up momentum. And they cannot do that against a side like XL because they have no weaknesses in that side. Every single one of them can step up. Every single one of them can win a round and show that they are here to, you know, destroy them in every single way. The mechanical prowess of XL is just that step above. And you're seeing, while he may come in as one of the best aimers, he definitely has that competition of anybody on XL.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that race pick that they have on Icebox have kind of surprised some of these teams. They didn't play against XL, or they didn't play that race against XL the first time they met. They won 13-5, but after that, they haven't been able to win XL. They have been playing really, really tough Icebox matches against Alliance, H2O. So I think Finest is looking kind of 50-50 right here. They might go the distance, especially when we look at the last game, 13-11. One mistake from XL, one mistake too many, and that could have been the end of that Icebox. We could have gone to third map. There were some risky plays, actually quite a lot from XL, but they worked out in the favor of them.
Yeah, agreed.
Does it feel like this time around, however, because it's the finals, XL just want to get it over and done with? Are you convinced that potentially XL coming out with even more strats? They're playing it even tighter than they did before. We saw a lot more util usage this time around.
Yeah, I mean, you look towards kind of the pick of Icebox here, and I can understand the idea by Finest. Week 2, they played each other, and it was a 13-5 in favor of Finest. They dominated, right? It was so one-sided. They want to kind of be able to somehow, some way relive that week 2, but it's now a completely different story and scenario. We were having this conversation that, you know, as this season's progressed, XL have only got better, where Finest have been inconsistent, and that's their biggest fault. You come in towards here where they've got one last opportunity to stay alive in this grand final, to potentially be one of the teams going towards those finals. And it's towards Icebox, a map in which they lost to yesterday. I mean, if you look at the current trend, it's got to say, the odds are stacked against Finest.
Yeah, and I feel the thing that XL is looking for, they want to make a statement coming out of Polaris, going into regional league finals. They have to go for this. Okay, we won to 3-0. It's going to be domination. And I think that's going to be scary for these teams facing against XL. So that is definitely something that they are looking for. I don't think they're going to go for like, let's just play this out. Let's see. We have these 2 maps after that, they're gonna go full force. They're gonna full focus into this matchup, and obviously they're gonna hope to win it. And well, they're looking good.
Yeah, XL definitely looking good, and they're looking to walk away with this unscathed so far. As we said, they haven't actually dropped a single map here in playoffs. They come in the upper seed, they keep in that top up bracket, they even have that 1 map advantage. So now it's a matter of what agents are they going to be picking on this map specifically, because again, they're very important. We said the Viper from Destructive, something to be looking forward to. Is that still what you're expecting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they should go for the same agents that they had last time.
Yeah.
It should absolutely be the case. I think right here in Icebox, you don't really want to go for these changes instantly. Maybe Yasin could go for like a jet, but I don't think it fits really well right there. Yeah, Raze is kind of unorthodox pick on Icebox, but Yasin works it so well.
If you look at the compositions that both of these 2 sides have ran, the entire the way through stage 3 of Polaris, they've been exactly the same. They've never changed. And if we can read them, so can they. We'll take a look at what we're going to get here. Is it going to be, more or less pretty standard? Pretty readable.
Absolutely. I mean, classic stuff from both of these teams. It's just who has adapted better from last time. It's gonna be a banger. I hope it's gonna be at least even. I hope XL is not gonna fully dominate this.
I'm concerned though, because if we can read into what agents they're gonna select into, it means a team who are the kings of counter-stratting XL can do. And this is their bread and butter. When they know what they're coming against, when they know what kind of composition they're going to be facing, this is when they come in towards their own. The only thing I hope is that Foxy, when he likes to go nice and a little bit over-aggressive in my stance, he can cause a lot of problems to XL because he overextends. If he can just calm his mannerisms down a little bit, I really think they're going to walk this map.
Yeah, Finest looking for a lifeline to hold on. XL looking to get it done over with quite quickly. Moxie and Twiggy on the cast, which could potentially be the last one here. Guys, take it away.
Well, we've had our holiday in Bhutan. It was a short trip, nonetheless, either way. But now we're heading very far north. We're heading to the Siberian islands of Russia, of Icebox here. And XL, they've had a pretty decent playground in this map in recent times. I mean, obviously, they haven't even lost a map here in the Polaris playoffs so far. And Finest were no exception to that rule.
Yeah, we're wrapping up warm to head over to Icebox, and hopefully Finest have been warmed up, because I don't know about you, Twiggy, but it feels like that 1 hour downtime has actually been a deficit to this team instead of a boon in terms of being able to get that reset, because it also meant all of that momentum that they had off of that win against 2Cars has also been disrupted. And they haven't been able to pick it up on Haven. Now they're going to have to be able to try and find it in the pistol. Machine, hello! That's a little bit unexpected. We'll be able to find one, but very quickly taken down.
Well, characteristically, XL have gone incredibly aggressive here on the first round of Icebox, and it's worked out for them. They gave away 1 kill, but it's pretty much over already. It's been seconds, guys. Give us just a tiny bit of time to talk. You know, look, we just got off the death segment. Just let us be, you know.
Well, XL don't really like doing that, though, because they did something very similar in Haven, right? Where they wanted Finest to walk towards them and onto one of those sites. Half of their team would then push onto that front line. The rest of the team would then flank around the middle and come for that backstab. And it's something that we see again on Icebox, and I think it's something that fans were expecting. The fact that they had Machina waiting in the wing still in their attack at spawn does go to show that they were expecting it, and they left the chamber there with the headhunt to try and punish. But at the same time, it does find a whole lot of value. And Twiggy, here we go. It is going to be the Force coming up from XL, which can find a lot of value if you're able to find the picks. The Finest, this Headhunter, again, has to have a lot of pressure. It really has to be able to go toe-to-toe with these SMGs.
Well, Foxy will avoid the suppression there. Back up into sight. He has been walled off by the Toxin Scream, but Patstack has found a little gap in there to get through, and Foxy will just spray on through it. Here comes the pop flash, and Foxy will capitalize brilliantly for that. Get a 4K, get a flawless little round there, and I mean, we expected them to win it, but once again,
yeah,
it's XL defense, Icebox. It's hard to watch sometimes.
It's the strat that would have worked if they'd either had a Sage or that Toxin Scream was just a little bit more to the left, unfortunately, and it does mean that XL, with those SMGs, can just hold their ground, wait for Finest to come to them, and then start spraying through. And it is now going to be Finest coming in. Bonkar has a Bulldog, the rest of the team going to be coming through with those rifles. This is the round where they should, theoretically, this is their best chance, turn things around, being able to get up that first point on the board. However, XL, once again, just not allowing them any space, any movement. If your team wants to try and push into a maze, you're going to be walking into the decay.
Yeah, their first 2 rounds so unproductive for the team, so little taken away that they had to buy a bulldog for Wonka, despite the saving, which means it's going to be a little more difficult to push in. They'll be secure in their decision, but Chihuahua is just going to spray through the smoke, take a bullet onto Yassine. And they're taking their time now because XL, they're an intimidating team to push up against.
Yeah, well, they're an intimidating team to watch back for your flank. Once again, Finest having to, very similar to Haven, sacrifice members in the fight to make sure that XL aren't flanking around because they've conditioned this attacking side early on to expect it. And it does mean that they don't really have the numbers to try and brute force their way through this toxin screen.
Well, here comes the pop flash. Finest, it's his speciality for kicks. Speciality? Speciality. Words. All good. Spike is down, and that way they can play some post plants. They have lost one of their members. Patatech is caught by Yassine through the toxin screen. Eventually, Alive is wrapping his way around the site, however, and picks up a Spectre with the rest of the team tailing him quite closely. Bonka puts that bulldog to good use, turns around just in time to catch Chihuahua's dome, and it's just Foxy left. And that's not gonna come to much fruit.
Yeah, Finest going to be able to take that first round on the board on a buy that they really needed to be able to make work. XL, however, are going to make this round extremely dangerous for this team. Buying into the operator for Alive, they've seen how easily they were able to staff up Finest just with that toxin screen and the threat of perhaps one of those players flanking around the back, not being able to see through the Viper utility to be able to count where those players are positioned. Not having that information meant that Finest was so hesitant, and the operator really plays off of teams being hesitant. You get so much time to be able to hold your angles, set up those shots, and then be able to reposition to meet them in turn. As Alive thought about going for a very cheeky, aggressive angle on pipes. It is what Yassine likes to play from.
Alive does find his first pick with the operator and will back up around the corner safely. Now, Finest, one member down in their push on towards site. All of them have been able to keep those weapons from last round. Machina, in the meantime, making his way up tube, but there is going to be a trademark right in front of him, which will give away his location and signal to XL that maybe there's a push happening somewhere else. But I know what will signal that a little better is Patatech putting a bullet in Destructive's head, in fact. I hope he wouldn't put a bullet in Chihuahua's head. That would be very unfortunate.
Well, XL are going to start to rotate. However, Patatech is giving the team the information that no one has actually pushed off of Destructive after that Viper has been spotted. So Finest could just push their way back onto that A site, something that XL are very much aware of. The problem for Finest is how do they move? They don't have control of tube. They're going to run into Chihuahua. They're able to find one, not the second, but still, that's a lot of information. That's not a lot of time for Finest to be able to work with. The Spike is going to have to head towards one of these sites. Machine is trying to clear up that A site to make it a little bit easier for Yassine, but Spike goes down in mid, and there's no way anyone from Finest, even if they were alive, would be able to backtrack their way to that one in time, Twiggy.
XL are making this look easy on their defense. It is their attack that I'm most worried about here on Icebox, but not worried enough that if they take 10 rounds, they're going to drop it or anything like that. I don't think we're going to see a Finest choke in that regard here on Icebox for XL.
Small hiccups again from Finest, right? Sending 2 players up tube, yep, so that you can try and find that trade. Not really using any utility to check the space.
That's what you've seen in Bonka feel like. Staring off into the ocean right now.
Bonka and Bonka's judge.
Bonka, yeah, Bonka. Yeah, no, you've seen Bonka and then the little penguin next to them, Bonka's judge. Unfortunate. Mo will throw that shock dart down and will do some damage to Machina, but not as much damage as Patatech with his Vandal. Destructive makes his way through, but hey, you've been seen by Chihuahua. You're not getting away from that one. The Snake Bite will do a little bit of damage, but that's just a consolation prize as Yassine pushes in, finds Foxy. The first blood on XL's side for a decent amount of time. Alive has made his way in through the back, and I don't think Yassine has actually seen him. Although he is waiting, he is cautious, I think he did. But
no!
Alive is quicker to find the head of Yassine, and he'll find a second onto Kicks as well in the back line. Now it's just Bonkar left, and XL are not sweating whatsoever. Yassine sprays, Chihuahua finds.
Yeah, Finest are having a real tough time trying to figure out which of these sites, which of these spaces they want to unlock. Chihuahua is being such a thorn in their side over in mid. They can't push up tube because every single time, if Destructive comes under any pressure, you're just immediately taken out by Chihuahua, who drops a snake bite. And goes, okay, I don't feel like taking this fight.
Yeah.
I'm going to have all of the time in the world to keep you at bay. And then if they push into the A site, they're walking into the operator, who isn't even anchoring on B. Instead, it's Patatek who's going to be there with things like the flash drives to stop Finest from being able to stomp their way through, speedrun onto the site, and get that spike planted, as we see so many teams often try to do. Foxy is even going to be able to cut them off as they come through Garage. Those lanes are absolutely perfect to be able to land a Paranoid to connect with so many of those players.
That's going to do a lot. Just before he's suppressed, he will throw it out, but it does not catch them in time for them to be caught out by it. In comes the pop flash, but Patatek is going to get the first kill. Yassine finds Foxy with the Sheriff, but they're going to need to do a lot more than that. There's a showstopper straight onto Patatek's dome. Gives them access to the site entry, a free pass, a VIP entry, but they are now still stuck in B main, and they're being pinched by Chihuahua. They're being pinched by Alive. He'll come in, the operator in hand, he'll fight too! There's the Headhunter, comes out massive, destructive. The world is on your shoulders. With 2 players left to kill, and they've switched the tables on you. You've got to get back to the spike now. He'll find the head of Mo. Only 1 player left to take out, but it's a monumentous task as Alive. He's feeling himself at the moment. He's staring down Yellow. He's got his sights directly on the corner that Destructive is thinking of peeking out. He's got the spike in his hand. He's got all the time in the world. And Destructive, he just has to slow things down, and he has to take this as perfectly as possible, because 1 mistake will give this round away to XL once again. 23 seconds left on the timer, and Destructive is going to start to make his move. He turns around and he gets the head of Alive, and he'll take the second round with a perfect clutch in a 1v2.
Oh my goodness. Destructive, that is the way to win the round. The desk mentioned that this is one of those players that you do have to watch out for in terms of that clutch factor, and he's able to do it again, adds to the percentage, adds to the rounds that Finest are allowed to grab. This is so devastating. Finest were not expecting a second player to be wrapping around the back. They thought Chihuahua was out and alone, and you can actually see that it catches Bonka entirely unaware because he's not even looking in the direction that he pops out from. However, Finest will be able to start to make a recovery. They've got the operator in hand. They have the Hunter's Fury, so if they want to try and brute force their way onto that A side early, they can try and push XL away, something that they've struggled with time and time again. But Foxy, that is actually going to find a pick! How does the Omen TP find a pick?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Foxy has done that a few times before, but Finest definitely weren't aware that it was going to happen. Yassine, he will take the head off of Mo, and they do have control of sight now, Finest, but they need to do a lot more work, and Bonka, he'll make it happen just a little quicker. Patatek coming in from one side, Alive from the other with a tour de force in hand, but he's not going to be able to see anybody anytime soon. Kix is holding down that corner. Foxy, he's going to have to do some work here with the operator, and he will not find that pick. Bonka manages to take him out. Alive, he misses his first shots, he whiffs too, and Kix will take him out for his troubles. Patatek, the last member standing for the team, and now, oh dear, Finest, they're looking a little more confident. XL have given them an opening, and Finest have taken it perfectly with 2 rounds on the trot.
XL getting a little bit too confident there, to be honest.
Yeah. That's maybe, I think that's the XL special.
That is a little bit of BM.
Yeah.
Just ulting into attacker spawn. Still manages to find 1 pick, however, it does actually separate the team and allows Finest. They see, okay, there are players behind us, there's probably a player in mid. That means that A site is actually more open to us, and we can just walk in, get that spike down, and turn around. And when they have things like Hunter's Fury and Viper's Pit, it's extremely hard for XL to be able to come back into those retake positions.
Yeah.
As now, Finest are wanting to just brute force their way over onto the B, as they do have those 2 ults that we mentioned, that if they can't get that spike down, this operator, this 1 threat that Alive is still holding in their hands, which can allow XL to come back into these rounds despite Patatek still being on that Bulldog, they can find that round win, and Finest want to do everything in their power to stop it from having an impact.
I'll go ahead and get that spike down. The spray from Foxy through the toxin screen is not going to find a body to connect with. And there comes Viper's Pit. Make matters a little worse here for XL on the retake. They're spraying desperately into it. And that is a great shock dart from Bonkar to do a lot of damage. Machina doesn't quite land the shot, but it keeps him back just a second longer. Yassine is coming through the Viper's Pit. Patatek is fully flashed up. In comes Kix from one side, Yassine from the other. They pinch him down, and only Alive is alive. Can he stay alive for much longer? Not with everybody hunting him down. He'll find the first pick. He's looking for a couple more, but Destructive is pre-aimed on that corner, and he won't let him get away with that life.
Well, Twiggy, we get to add to the tally of Foxy TPing up onto Yellow. And unfortunately, he is almost immediately taken down.
I mean, yeah. Look, on the defense side, fair enough. It's the attack. Look.
You wanted the counter. I'm just trying to help you here.
No, yeah, it's. I wasn't expecting him to die like first blood too many times on defense. It's attack. I'm gonna be really scared. I see it so many times. And Foxy, come on, man, please stop doing it.
What do you think's gonna happen more often? Bonka buying a judge on bind, or Foxy
we can get a count.
TPing up onto yellow?
We can get a count after we're done with the Polaris playoffs. I'm sure somebody will be gracious enough to get a pie chart going. Maybe there's a correlation. You know, day by day. Maybe it's the exact same. Foxy sees the challenge of Bonkar in terms of trying to throw games and goes for it himself.
I tell you what, Patatek actually buys the judge a lot. So I wonder who's bought it more. I would say probably Bonkar, but Patatek on Raze on Split does adore satchel packing in with that judge.
Yeah, he definitely does, indeed.
But I think it's like, there's 2 clips where he satchel packs in with the judge on his highlight reel of all of his picks from Polaris.
Okay, well, Finest, for the first time in a while, they have a full bite. XL do not. This is new ground for them here against XL. But XL are going to try and force their way into this round. It's going to be a odd buy. Couple half armors, a bulldog. Alive isn't going to be working with much whatsoever apart from a headhunter.
Yeah, Chihuahua's going to be very reluctant to use that pit as well, but as I say, that is immediately going to pop it over onto the A. Thankfully, Finest aren't pushing that position because Bonka could just have used the Hunter's Fury to try and push that Viper off. Foxy on yellow is going to have to abandon the position and fall back to Patatek. So if you do get pushed, you do have that KO to provide the pop flash. And again, Finest going to potentially be punished for not running that Sage, even though they've managed to push those 2 players anchoring the site back. They still have not actually got the space to walk forward and get the spike through. Yeah,
not having the Sage on the attacker's side and heading towards B does give the defense the opportunity to back up and play retake instead, because obviously that Sage wall can take so much, a massive chunk of time out of the retake potential for a defensive team on Icebox. But nobody has a Sage on this map so far, so nobody's going to have to bother with that whatsoever. It's a nice ceasefire from both teams. Destructive is going to be suppressed up there, but Machina is definitely not suppressed up in mid. Operator in hand, takes out Mo. Opens things up for the team, but they're going to keep taking it slowly. It's been working out for them so far. Definitely taking their time. Cannot fault them on it whatsoever. Now it comes to Showstopper, you've seen maybe going a bit overkill with that one, but oh, Foxy finds his head. Oh, a little bit of damage, not too much.
Yeah, Showstopper was actually invested to try and let them move forward to get the spike down, but Patatek's able to cancel it out. Trades his life for it, but he is able to prevent it from coming on through. Foxy waits until just the last moment, hoping that they can just go for the conga line of getting those spike carriers killed before the spike can push through and time XL out, but spike is down. Chihuahua should be able to move into Snowman and try and pressure out the team as Alive starts to move forward and push these plays in yellow.
Alive has seen the card of Machina there, but it's not going to be enough to get the kill. Chihuahua finds one more. A tap onto Yassine, didn't even need to find the head. The kicks wraps around just in time to save Machina's life. And Finest, they get their 3rd round in a row, and hey, this is looking very good, actually. It's calculated, it's slower than we see from Finest pretty much any time. I mean, last map was insanely quick every round from Finest, no matter whether they were on attack or defense, but this is calculated, it's different. I like this play from Patatek.
Yeah, I honestly actually really like how Finest positioned into that one and how slow it actually went. Other than that spike taking so long to go down, that was very risky. If you didn't have a Showstopper, that might not have been able to go through as cleanly. But Finest have noticed that if they just brute force their way into one of these sites without something like mid control, and they go super fast, XL will just use the space to punish and flank them.
Right.
And so they're slowing things down. They're leaving one of these players, either Machina or Destructive, waiting around mid to see whether or not XL are going to try and make contact and push them, sandwich them in between 2 fights that they're not at all prepared to take.
Well, you've seen he opens things up on site. Kicks tries to get in. Classic pop flash. He'll get in. He'll get a kill for it. Alive is there with the trade. Bonkar and Yassine pick up the slack. Get those couple kills. Foxy, last remaining member. Machina is not going to have a tough time getting that kill. Finest are building up momentum. It's an expected round for them, but it is nonetheless a clean one.
Yeah, XL falling into a lot of patterns of predictability at the moment, right? We talk about Finest leaving these players to push into mid to see if XL are going to be vying for that space, and this is what, now the 3rd round that we've seen XL be punished for that greed. Icebox is very slow multi-split in the way of if you don't have that mid control, it can be very hard, very dangerous for you to feel like you are safe enough to push onto those sites, but Finest are able to punish knowing that they do have things like that chamber who can immediately relocate. And the fact that Kicks very early on in these rounds as well as getting those 0 points in, feeling out where the players are, means that they know how many players could potentially be pushing into mid, but that's going to be a very early Hunter's Fury to open things up. But Alive can still fire.
Alive has got an operator back in his hands, and he's back home. He's comfortable now. He's got a... Oh, what was that?
Hello.
I've never seen that one before. That was beautiful. Yeah, that was a piece of art.
Yeah.
And Kicks isn't going to get picked back up by Bonkar, so he's down on the ground, but it's a 1v3. I don't know, it feels like Finest, the confidence that they built up over the few rounds, usually in this situation I'd be like, Bonkar, no chance. Bonkar, no chance 1v3. In fact, I checked the statistics. In these playoffs, actually in the whole of Polaris, the amount of 1v3s that we've had that have come out for the one player have been almost 0. About 3 in the regular season, none in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, it's the cursed number, isn't it?
And a lot of the time, I think it's much more common to save now. I think, you know, economically, it's much more sound to sit back and save and not try and push the meta. But Bonkar, he thought about it, but he's going.
Yeah, he is properly going for this. Recon Bolt is going to be going through. XL have actually abandoned the site, though. So it's not going to be picking out
They'll catch him.
much. Bonkar, however, unfortunately, is going to be spotted out by Mo. Operator shot just narrowly misses, picking up the kill. And Mo will be able to find their mirror. XL, we expected it to happen, right? We talked about that 1 versus 3 being really hard to grab up. However, Finest have been able to recover so that they can buy into this one fully. Full rifles going to be online for the team. And there were some really good shots coming on through, right? The confidence from Finest, if that Hunter's Fury had found just a little bit more, been able to displace Alive, they would have been able to push entirely through maze and brute force them onto that A side.
Yeah, it is just scary how consistent Alive is with, you know, an operator or a tour de force in his hands. Although he's given it away to Foxy this round. He's got a tour de force available, so he's given that one away. Alive, he pushes up, but he gets suppressed immediately. He's going to have to back down very quickly without the use of his rendezvous, without the use of his tour de force. Get back there. We're going to have to play some retake as Finest get all the way in for free, pretty much. Boombot is going to give away Chihuahua's location, but he can just back up behind the Toxin screen. Out comes the Hunter's Fury to try and deny the plant. It does go down on the ground, but I think Bonkar is going to trade that with his life. Yassine and Destructive both managed to get some kills, but in comes Chihuahua. He finds a head of 1. Mo takes out Kicks for him, and now Yassine and Machina are the last remaining players. Patstech back up. 2v2 situation now. Patstech low on HP, but out comes the showstopper from Yassine. He'll send it straight out into CT. It will not find a body whatsoever. Machina watching down screens. He won't have to do anything. Out comes the paint grenade. It's just up to Mo. 1v2. Yassine is there. Finest are a different team.
Oh my goodness, I was watching XL's positioning and I was sliding further down my seat Twiggy because that was getting more dangerous and more dangerous and more dangerous because Patstech was just waiting with that null command to come on through and allow XL to sweep their way back onto site. But fair plays to Finest, like the fact that they're able to survive the suppression and then Yassine, yes, uses the showstopper, puts it into the wrong position, but it gives you the information, it narrows it down so you know that XL are going to be coming from Boiler, and that means that your 2 players can immediately push and make sure that you're in position. One baits out, the other manages to pick up those shots. And Finest are going to be heading into the half 7-5, 2 rounds ahead of XL. If they're able to get a running start on this defense and feel enabled to be able to force up into that second round of pistols, they're going to be able to find some real firepower.
Yeah, and there's the Yassine we saw up against Hukars earlier today. That is an incredible scoreline for the man coming into a team like XL. And he's going to try and make it a little more, pushing up Tube now. Nobody is really looking at that location. They're all just going to walk straight past it into that orb there. Yassine biding his time. He's going to take it. He's going to turn back round. Maybe find something. He's there with Alive. They're just going to come through. Sorry, not Alive. Machina. Mo does manage to get both of them, however. Destructive down on the ground. Foxy will take his head off. Bonkar taking out Alive now leaves Foxy by himself. And XL were not expecting this amount of resistance up against Finest. He does have the spike planted, but now he's in his own. Smoke, that shot, oh, that was close. Ooh. I thought for a second.
Yeah, just
underneath
bounce
off the ceiling. Oh, that's a good flash. Straight into him, he doesn't know where they are. He drops on top of them and find one. Oh, You never know with a frenzy.
You never know with a
frenzy. I thought for a second there, Bonkar finds a spray transfer, gets that one, but Bonkar is there. He gets the defuse. Finest take their 8th round.
And we can stay in our seats. We were about to both jump out of our seats.
I was almost out of it.
It's beautiful from Finest too. Just having that information, knowing that they're not pushing up tube, instead they're going underneath it, and then you can have Yacine and Machina going in, one with the Frenzy, one with that Headhunter, doing a lot of damage, getting a lot of pressure onto XL, forcing those players who want to try and help Spike move forward, push on back instead, dealing with that one threat. Means that Foxy is alone on tower, and Finest don't even need to separate the fight out, as now it will be Marshall coming out from Machina.
Indeed. Yacine is up in his favorite location up here, not with a Judge, but with a Spectre instead. Thought that was a Sheriff for a second. It is not. Satchel goes out. Foxy is very low on HP now. The nade is thrown out. We'll just keep him back for a second. XL not managing to make much headway at the moment, but then again, I don't think that was their plan so far. They just want to play it slowly and burn out some utility from Finest.
Yeah, XL very carefully pushing forward. Machina is gonna be there if they do try to push onto that B site. The Toxin screen is not actually gonna be able to cover them as they push on. Oh, just misses the kill shot. We'll be able to do a little bit of damage, but Yacine was able to fall into position behind Yellow with the Spectre, is able to pick out 2. The Paint Shell's gonna be able to pick up Patatek. Kicks falls into position behind all the way to the back of site. And once again, it's just Foxy pushed down to 1 HP, has to try and make this work over onto the A. Will at least get a little bit of money in the piggy bank Twiggy, planting onto the entirely empty A. But with 1 HP, all you need is just the breeze of a bullet whooshing past your ear.
You know what, as you said that, Foxy jumped down from heaven, and I thought he was actually going to jump and die there. Luckily, he just walks off and does not take 1 damage. That would have been an amazing moment. I would have loved that, actually, with all my heart, but
it would have been clipped.
At Foxy's expense, obviously. But Bonkar will just come in. He sees the shoulder of Foxy coming through from Maze. Finish out the round. Not too difficult whatsoever. Again, I don't think Foxy expected to win that, but it's another round for Finest.
Yeah, any money, anything that can try and help XL start to build into an economy that can challenge Finest is going to need helping, as it is going to be a timeout coming on through, and surely this is going to be XL calling this one, because Twiggy, when we saw the map lineup, we were a little bit concerned. This was the map where Finest were struggling against XL as soon as the series had begun. And now they're looking entirely different, extremely strong, extremely put together, playing off of each other's utilities, all of the right communications, all of the right callouts, predicting XL perfectly, being able to cut them off at the pass before the spike even goes down onto the B side. It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Finest now in a great economical position, coming up against 3 Sheriffs, a Frenzy, a Classic, well, probably a Headhunter, in fact, alive.
Not even a tour de force for XL.
Oh, Machina. Where are you looking, Machina? Oh, he second-guessed himself for a second there, and he has to use his rendezvous to get out. Alive. Oh, he'll find a perfect shot onto him. That's a great angle. With the Headhunter, 1 tap, that's all you need. And XL get themselves the advantage for the first time in what feels like a long time.
They have to move fast though. And Destructive is laying down so much suppressing fire that Kix has almost been able to cross entirely over from the A site into back of Snowman. And he's going to be there, Twiggy. 1 flash drive to his name. XL still haven't been able to move forward and get that spike planted. Only now are they trying. The spray starts to come on through, and Bonker's able to pick it out with the Spectre.
And indeed spraying through the Toxin screen. I'll find one more alive again. Headhunter in hand doing so much work. But now he has 3 players to take down, only 3 bullets in the chamber. And the chamber is on the ground.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Oh man, XL really are being punished, right? Finest were punished too for not running that Sage and trying to go for that tactic, only using the Toxin screen to cover themselves. But XL are actually being punished more, because when Finest were able to get that spike down relatively quickly, XL are actually being so hesitant, so passive, that Kix is all the way on the other side of the map, and then he's able to actually move into the B site, into the back of it, still with 1 flash to his name, before XL can even start to move forward and find any momentum, any time to try and get that spike down, because Finest have just been doing such a good job of keeping them delayed. As now, XL are coming in on a better buy, they should be able to start to try and pressure Finest out from these very early positions as Machina, with the operator, is looking for a juicy opening.
I don't think he heard that TP from Foxy, and that might just be enough space to see him, but no. Neither player going to shoot at each other. Machina gets to back up, keeps his life. Once again, just being able to stay away from XL at the very least. Critically, again, the retake play a lot more viable with that lack of a Sage. So that is exactly what they want to go for.
It's not even the full retake either. It's like the 0.65% of a retake.
Yeah.
You let half the spike plant happen, and then you peek out and spray the player.
They added a new space for the spike to go down, and everybody's just gone, no, I'm gonna keep using the same place that we've used forever. It's all good. XL, they'll move in now, slowly but surely, taking a page out of Finest's book from earlier on in this map. You're seen waiting up top with the paint grenade in hand. Down goes that spike. It's a nicely placed Satchel, I think, but I don't think it catches. Oh, the no-scope from Machina will definitely catch Mo. However, Chihuahua trying to hold down mid, and he will get the kill onto Bonka. Kicks moving his way in, but Patatek is there with the headshots. He's been looking a little lackluster so far this weekend, but he's really warming up now. He's hitting his shots. And Finest are looking down the barrel at their first round loss in quite a little while. XL move that ticker back in their favor.
Yeah, Kicks, unfortunately, and uncharacteristically, not able to flash. You've seen safe entrance. And the Raze will go down, and then the KO, unfortunately, has no choice but to try and throw themselves into the blender. And XL able to make it work, able to get that spike planted despite losing a lot of members, a lot of guns.
Well, Finest, at least they've gotten themselves closer to that finish line. At the very least, they've done very good work so far. XL,
that's a good spot.
Not sure they're feeling confident,
Here.
but I think they always feel confident. They're that kind of team. They're always sure of themselves. Whether they can bring this one back remains to be seen, but at least they have 2 maps up on Finest so far, so it's not going to be that big of a worry no matter what.
They're being very careful about how they want to push into this because they know that Yassine does have that showstopper. And it has been one of these ultimates that Finest have always been able to find a value for, even if it doesn't get a pick. It is being used to secure up that space. As Destructive is moving very far forward. Definitely saw that TP! Ooh! Almost wasn't able to get the shots in time, but will be able to get Foxy before you're traded out by your life.
Yeah, those containers took a lot of bullets surrounding those players.
They're magnetic, you know?
Oh yeah, 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 we'll call it that. They didn't miss. They just had their bullets taken away from them by the cruel magnetic containers. Mo is moving in. Next for XL, as Finest hold down yellow, hold down the area. Yassine closest. He's going to have to do a lot of work with that classic. Oh, he won't find the head of alive. That is a lot of work. Oh, and Patatek almost gets played for a fool by that little counter play. Machina has a weapon that is usable from that range. Bonkar trying to do some work with the Sheriff as he moves in. Machina takes down Chihuahua. Mo, push him around the corner. You don't do that again, Bonkar. Don't get out that owl drone and die. He's done it. And Machina now left on his own. 1 versus 2. Very doable. Mo right round the corner here. He has the tour de force available next round, so I don't think he has any plans of saving.
Not with Patatek that low.
Not at all. Patatek is on site. Mo's around the corner, but Mo's quicker with the trigger finger. XL take another round and another slight advantage over on Finest. Economically, in terms of confidence, in terms of just that momentum that they have. And they just need to keep going now.
Yeah, and this is where it gets dangerous. Momentum is definitely in XL's favor, as they're so close to some really heavy hitting ults, Twiggy, and they're going to have the weaponry to be able to punish Finest by as well. Because if you use it when Finest are on an eco and you win the round, it's going to do a little bit, you'll get a round win. But if you use it when Finest are on a full buy, you're going to push them back into that eco once more.
Yeah. Just having some technical issues just for a second, but we're back up. Sorry about that. Oh, Destructive will take down Foxy. He gets a little too aggressive. Patatek finds one trade onto Kicks. Bonkar sends his owl drone down into mid. Looking for players. Swept past Chihuahua there. He was visible, but I think for just too short a time. If you were on a 30 hertz monitor. I don't think you'd have seen that.
Finest can't actually play too aggressive this round either. They need to be able to be in positions where they can pull back and play for retake if XL decide to pull the trigger on that null command.
Wow.
Destructive not looking where you're backing into is going to mean that you back right into the total force shot. And now it is just going to be 3 remaining players for Finest. Bunker can at least find something with this Hunter's Fury if you're able to hear that Sankey, which is why you're seeing us making sure that B has a little bit of presence, but Machina looks away at just the wrong moment. Thankfully is able to rendezvous out, but unfortunately you've given up the prior positioning, and that total force is going to be so hard to come back in with now.
That was a matter of millimeters, both him dying and him getting away from that one. Bonka manages to take down Patatek and Mo. Playing bodyguard, Chihuahua and Alive still in play. Coming from CT, Chihuahua tries to open things up, but Patatek is taken down at the same time as Chihuahua there finished off, and the defuse comes through. Alive needs to turn around the corner, needs to get that kill. He does not hit the shots. Machina will defuse the spike. Finest get one round closer to that match point.
Oof, Bonka able to come in with that Phantom and get the picks that Finest absolutely needed. As they had just lost full control of mid, it would have been so hard for them to try and rotate around, but thankfully they were close enough to that A site just in case it was XL double backing over to the space to try and get that spike planted. And it is going to actually be an XL timeout, as
That
they
is a rare
surely know how close Finest are to actually finishing off this map, because just as XL have ultimates which they can use to brute force their way onto sites, Finest have almost exactly the same ultimates that they can use to shut XL down, to push them away into things like operator shots or even Machina, where you're seen coming in on these really aggressive plays where you're not expecting a race to be standing.
Yeah, as we take a ride on the conveyor belt here, we can think about, well, XL can definitely think for a little bit about what they've been doing wrong. Finest have kind of been walking all over them. It's in no small part due to Yassine. You can see him there on 23 and 12. 23, a pretty incredible amount of kills to have, 18 rounds into the game. But, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Yassine, look, I don't want to call Finest a flip-flop team again, but, you know, their form is not always 100%.
Yeah.
And you do have to wonder whether they can bring things out when they're having these bad kind of spells. That last map was not a good map for them. And you have to wonder whether that was their form, whether it was XL's preparation, whether it was Finest's lack of preparation, because Yassine just didn't bring his A-game there. Here, he's on par with what he was doing up against Hukaz.
Yeah, I think it was definitely due to a breakdown of morale, but Finest have found that confidence. And now they are really playing off of each other. Kick sitting on 10 assists as well is really allowing them to find those openings. Unfortunately, Kix is the first player to go down. Foxy just survives the TP, but will go down once it wraps. Yassine's able to 180 and grab that one, and it is now going to be Mo coming in huge underneath tube. But Bonka and Machina are chiming in themselves. Chihuahua has the Viper's Pit, but unfortunately, no team or no spike to be able to actually use it.
No, Machina, no! XL! Get around out of nowhere! Neither of them checking behind!
Oh, we're back
XL
on Haven.
take a page out of Finest's little flank book there. They just come around from behind, they take a free couple kills, nobody's watching it.
Tuggy, we're back on Haven. I can see the flashbacks, Bonker in drone form. Destructive not looking behind.
Finest are a meter from the line, but they've fallen over. They're reaching their arm out to try and get there ahead of XL.
It's like a tortoise.
Yeah. But XL, they're clawing rounds back, and Finest are on an eco.
Finest have got to remember as well how hard they found it to finish out those rounds against Hukaz. And they are going to be feeling so much pressure. They know that XL can start to claw things back. They should be able to claw back this round. And Finest are looking for these picks. They're trying to put themselves into position to be able to cut XL off. They've been able to separate Alive out. And XL, wanting that mid control, wanting to be able to have their pick of the litter between this B and the A site, have unfortunately overstretched themselves.
Yep, Machina is going to be holding down A here. He gets right behind one player, but he misses the critical shots once again. Finest, victory is right there. They just need to take it, and they cannot. Chihuahua finds another kill onto Bonka. They get themselves into sight. Yassine is going to make his way past that one-way smoke, but they need to come in from CT now. We'll find one pick. A few more of those, that's all they need. Let's surround that they really want to get some damage done onto XL. XL have ults to play with, they have weaponry to play with, they have no money to play with, so every gun you can take away, that is perfect. Patatek comes through, he'll take the first down, the Boombot as well, but Kix is there to trade both of those lives. Mo, Foxy, can they take this back? Can they keep him away? There's the Hunter's Fury to push them towards them, but Foxy cannot find the hit. Mo finds one with the Hunter's Fury, but now he needs to keep that spike safe, and he'll spray him down, but Destructive finds ahead. He may just have enough time. It's going to be incredibly close.
Oh, no. I don't
Oh!
think so, no!
2.5 tenths of a second separate Finest from getting their match point.
Oh, it was so close, but Twiggy, you pulled out Hunter's Fury, and you pulled so many rifles away from XL when you were coming in on that eco. The start of the round looked absolutely devastating, but friends were able to pull it back. They're able to put themselves into a position where they can buy that operator for Machina, and he can rely on that one. And XL, they don't have the Hunter's Fury. They can't open things up in the round to try and push that chamber out of position. I know it's a tragedy. It really is a Shakespearean tragedy. But for XL, they don't have the Hunter's Fury, which means they don't have an easy way of getting themselves onto site to activate Chihuahua's Viper's Pit. This operator is going to have so much bite to it at the beginning of the round. If you're not looking in the right place, though, that bite is going to be absolutely bitter.
Finest can taste victory in this map. They have so far to go, even if they do this one. It would be the reverse sweep of dreams, and Finest, they do love their reverse sweeps. But so far, XL are making it a monumentous task to get over that line. They'll throw down the Viper's Pit. Foxy playing just inside it under Heaven here. 4 players of Finest remain. They have no money after this round. They'll have to eco. They'll let XL back onto the same amount of rounds as them, no matter what, pretty much. Unless they can pull something out of there right now. If they can push through, Yassine and Bonkar, they'll find some picks. They'll get in closer. Yassine finds one more with the showstopper. Down goes the Viper's Pit. Alive has all the work to do, but Destructive will finish it off. They'll get that match point. They'll get that much closer to the end of this map and just give themselves one more chance to bring back that reverse sweep.
Once again, it's Yassine who pulls Finest from the brink of defeat, getting just enough kills to be able to charge up that showstopper and use it right around XL. Finally able to drop the Viper's Pit and let Finest see. And it is match point for Finest, but they are feeling so much pressure, Twiggy. They need to finish things out on this round. XL are coming in on a force. They know how important it is if they can make this turnaround. If they can push Finest out of this round, they can try and equalize.
In goes Foxy. As always, a terrifying teleport that I would never try. But he stays alive. He gets a little bit of damage done as well. Destructive down to 91 HP, 31 armor as well. Make that 122.
And he's out.
He is. But, oh, not quite out, but he gets away with his life at the very least. 60 health left. He still has his ult from the shadows available whenever they feel like using it, which can be quite nice on the attacking side. You can see they're planting Chihuahua over towards A, maybe to give a little bit of space to Foxy if he does want to use that from the shadows to get the spike from one side of the map to the other. But Finest, they're stacking B.
Yeah, and XL are about to walk right into it. Once again, the toxin screen's going to be coming through. It's not quite in the right position, though. You've still got a lovely window into that approach from tower. And it is going to be the 0.2 coming right into the back of yellow, suppressing everyone on the side of XL. They've spotted out the movement. They know that it is not going to be the A-side despite taking Chihuahua down. And for XL, they have to start moving forward. Unfortunately, it's going to be into that null command.
Yassine takes down 2, will turn around the corner, find a 3rd. Mo is there just to cut off the blood flow, but Machina will finish it off. It's a quick final round, and Finest give themselves one more chance to bring this back. It's 2-1 in the map series. Analyst Desk, take it away.
13-9 for Finest. They're giving themselves that lifeline, that opportunity, a glimpse of hope to get revenge back on XL. XL not looking as tip-top form as we might have expected them to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was all about Yassine, though, on Finest. The utility, the rifles, everything was on point. And I think every time Yassine find kills on utility, those nades, they were perfect onto XL. XL usually had like 2 players stacked on top of that nade. And it did so much damage and killed so many people.
Yeah, and to add on to that as well, I said coming in towards this map that the win factor in the first series of the day for the likes of Finest was Yassine dropping 400 and something ACS, 30 kills in a ridiculous performance. I said they can't always rely on Yassine, and once again, their win factor is him. He has an unreal performance, but when you put it pound for pound, you compare each and every role against each other, everyone in XL outfragged everyone in Finest aside from Yassine. That's how much impact he has.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the best things I saw from Finest, that's not Yassine, was they were able to cancel Alive's aggressive style a lot. On that defensive side, Alive was trying to go for those picks, for especially in pipes. They were able to just throw KO Dagger out there. Alive is stuck on that KO Dagger, has to fall back, especially on rounds with Tour de Force. There was really good attacking side for Finest, able to deny that Alive, who was so instrumental for XL last time around here. 29 kills was so good, and Yassine, I mean, we cannot stop talking about it.
Yeah, XL getting off to a strong start, but unfortunately not enough here to close it out against Finest, and this is why Finest picked Icebox. They look like they're in their element. They look like they've got it together, and it feels like a different team. It feels like they had that opportunity to sit down, relax, and look back at it. But we spoke about Yassine. We spoke about how instrumental he has been so far, and as highlighted on these MVP stats, he's coming out on top. 402 ACS coming out from this one player.
It's a ridiculous performance. Again, the win factor for Finest is this one man. I mean, he's had a unreal kind of just day today. He's been on fire. And when you have someone popping off in that regard, give him all the space he wants, gives him all the roles he wants, let him do his work because it's enough. So far, XL have failed completely miserably to be able to shut him down individually. And that's been one of the biggest deficits. If they can find a way to control Yassine, they'll win out the series, they'll win out the maps, easily done, but they can't just yet.
Absolutely, and I love how Finest started playing around Yassine when they were like, okay, Yassine is absolutely popping off more than ever. I think Finest, they have this good sense of idea how they want to play the game around Yassine, but now it was just perfected so well. The flash is coming in, darts coming in, all of the utility that was provided for Yassine was so good. But not only that, all of the utility that Yassine provided for himself, for his team, the nades able to separate those two players. For example, I think it was second to last round or something like that, behind the yellow. Yassine was able to throw that one nade. Enemy had to push out there. That was a free kill for Yassine, separating those duels. And XL, they were ripped out of their fundamentals. They couldn't go for those trades because of the race.
Yeah, the fundamentals of XL this time around looking a little shaky. It doesn't feel like they've had that opportunity to even get a lot of plants down either. It looked like Finest, they were just so much on it. Whether it was on the attacking side or the defensive side, they've made it difficult for XL. We're going to be going on to the next map soon, and that's going to be Fracture, which is actually XL's pick. So, Nikai, what are you expecting there?
Well, I mean, what you saw, kind of the real kind of bad points of XL is that they got tunnel vision into the same playstyle round after round. They were trying to brute force their way forward with this one similar playstyle. You know, Foxy goes for that super risky TP every single time, trying to force his playstyle coming through. And credit to Finest, they read him like a book. And because they consistently got that opening kill towards Foxy each and every round, they played each and every round with a man advantage. And when you allow not only Finest, but Yassine individually to start finding a lot of space because, you know, XL gets spread thin, that's when they pop off. And Fracture is arguably the biggest map of all, right? If Yassine has that ability to free roam, has that ability to walk around and do what he wants to do, and if they keep making rookie errors like that, XL will be punished. We came in towards this series, most of us pretty much touted that, yeah, I mean, XL should walk away with this, and they're getting overconfident and they're getting sloppy. Yeah,
the first map has been dropped by XL in the finals. There's still 2 more to go. We're going to be heading to Fracture next, and afterwards, potentially Breeze. But first, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back shortly.
Yeah. So, right. Phoenix!
Low.
Let's go, boys!
Vamos!
Let's go, boys!
Yeah, just chill.
On ping. Nice.
Planting.
Stem spot. He's dead.
Well played.
Nice. All I need.
It's a love tonight.
Lol. He's AFK or what?
Are you kidding me?
You're stealing my kills, Foxy.
You run for this one, yes?
Yes,
It's fine, Male. Don't do it. Don't do it, Male. Go in. You're not on it.
Let's go! Boys! I love you! Oh my god, I love you! I love you guys! I love you so much!
He's
Short.
Short main side.
Janet main.
Main 70.
Yeah, he's one speed done.
Nice!
Let's go.
We like it spicy. Let's go. I'm gonna go B last round.
If he sticks to the defuse though, he doesn't have to worry about the lockdown. Oh, but now he has to. Taking off of it. Oh, but he finds the kill! Good.
Nice! Now what?
The 1v3 for the boys to see it out.
Good see ya!
Bro, I thought the turret was gonna kill me, bro. I was so scared. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Cypher's here as well.
Open the door.
Dashed in, he's in.
Stairs. Dead stairs.
Out main, both main. One more. Cypher's there.
Nice. Come on, boys.
Let's go.
Played. That's how we roll, boys.
Nice, guys.
Let's go, man.
Let's go.